y'all, I'm Kim. I own Keller's Creations, and I'm so glad you're here to join us for another fun class. This one is called Let's Eat, and it features our Let's Eat scrap bundle, which includes perfect pieces, our 2-inch word circles, our 6x6 fun sheets, and these packs have 6 different prints in them, our 4x4 fun sheets, which have 12 different prints in them, as well as these fun little titles. And then to make 6 double pages, we always throw in a pack or 2 of our rings. Now, I know you're gonna like the quick techniques in this one, but the subject matter of food and eating and hanging out with our friends, y'all, it just doesn't get any better. All right, y'all, let's get through the cutting portion of our Let's Eat class. With the bundle that we're doing, we're only going to cut up a few pieces. We're going to cut up the border pieces, 5 of the 6x6 fun sheets this time, and then just 3 of the 4x4 fun sheets. And as always, we do color photos and little tips for each page, but we give you your plan of attack. The cutting diagrams is what let me know what to pull, and it shows me how to cut each one so we can get all the work done for the 6 double pages in just a few minutes. Then the rest of our time is spent being creative with our photos in hand and laying the pages out. All right, so let's start with the first diagram that's up here, and it's all 3 of these 4x4s that I've pulled, and they're cut the same way. We're just cutting a 1-inch piece off, okay? So on these 3, that's all we have to do. It's 4 inches wide, so I'll measure it 3, and that gets me my 1-inch piece. I'll follow the same guide, and now all the 4x4s are done. All right, so those have been finished. Now, 3 of the 6x6s are getting cut the same way, but let's start with these 2. So the green dot is the one that looks like it has the most cuts. And if you see a diagram that's like that, sometimes you don't know where to start. So my tip is to find the longest continuous line, and that's your first one. So this one goes across here all the way, that's your first cut. And it needs to be 2.5 by 3. So this is the 2.5 side. So I will measure this at 2.5. Okay, so this piece becomes the one across the top. It's still 6 inches long, and you need 2 pieces at 3. So that gets you the top part. Now this big piece, they each need to be 2.5 by 3.5, and a little one at 1 by 3.5. So this is your 3.5. So I'm going to measure at 5, which lets this one fall off. Okay, and then this one at 5, I can then cut at 2.5, and I have my 2 pieces. Now, make a note, accordion tag. This is the size that is perfect size to mat a photo or to fit in space on an accordion tag. So that's where those 2 pieces are going. So that's the hardest diagram, and it's out of the way. The red dot, we're just going to cut a 2-inch piece off. So I will measure at 4, and that gives me the 2 pieces I need of red. Now these 3 that I have left are all cut the same way. We're going to start by cutting a 2-inch piece off, and instead of having a 4x6 left, we will turn it and cut them in half and have 2 3x4s out of each print. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of these. And these kind of cuts will become second nature to you. And I really tell everybody, when you take our classes or buy our kits, save all of our diagrams, hole punch them, and put them in a binder of some sort. And then you've got plans when you're working with, say, 6x6 scraps out of your scrap box, or when you purchase any of our other scrap bundles, you could follow the same diagrams and do this again. All right, so we've done all 3 of those. What we have left are our borders. I always start by cutting the header strip off, but then I wait a minute instead of just cutting these apart into 6 1-inch borders. Sometimes I leave some of them together, and sometimes I want to cut some of them smaller. So it looks like 4 of them, the diagonal stripes, the aprons, stripes again, and aprons. those all get left to 1 by 12. But this black gingham and these red circles, I only have one of each, and I want to turn it into 2. So they are 1-inch borders. If you cut those in half, they will be a 1/2 inch. So let me show you the easiest way to do that. If you cut all of these apart into 1-inch strips, it would be very hard to hold a 1-inch strip and try to cut it in half, no matter what kind of paper trimmer you have. So if you leave this hole and measure from the top, if this is 6 inches wide, if I measure at 5.5 and cut, I've got the piece I need at a 1/2 inch. Now, if I measure at 5, that should be right on the line for that thread to come off, and there's my second one. Now this is 5 inches wide, I need a 1/2 inch. I'm gonna measure at 4.5, and then at 4. And I hope you see how much easier that is. Okay, so that got the 2 at the bottom. Now the rest of these are 1 inch, so they just get cut apart where the prints meet. Super easy. Okay, and if you end up with a little bit of a print down one side like this, it's okay. You just take your listen at me. You take your scissors and trim a little. I think I just created a new word. Scissors and trim, shimmers. Okay, so we have cut all of the pieces in a matter of minutes to build 6 double pages. We'll be back in just a few to show you how they lay out. All right, y'all, let's see how great these pages turned out by adding some rings, an accordion tag to the pieces that come in our scrap bundle. And please remember, if you see just white mats anywhere in this kit, those would actually be your photos. So this would be a 4x6 and this would be a 4x4. On this page, main reason I started with it is I wanted to show you a couple of little easy tricks. Oh, I actually grabbed, this one comes on another page, but I can show you, it's this cut, okay? So these little 1-inch snips, if you want to have this little arrow that comes out, instead of cutting a notch out and putting it on your page and trimming off the top that then becomes trash, if you do it this way, you have a usable piece. And you do it by pinching, and don't fold it enough to crease it right there. And then instead of cutting a triangle out, you scoot up within the piece. And then you get 2 usable pieces with 1 little snip, okay? But I want to show you something else. These are the 2x3s that you ended up cutting on that first 6x6 diagram that had so many pieces come out. They are these 2 pieces. And the only difference is we're doing the snip out of the side, okay? So instead of pinching here, you're going to pinch this way and do just a slight angle out of those corners. And that's what gives you the great big pieces, which look totally different than this, but the same trick, okay? And if you want to watch it one more time, you would pinch on the wider side and come up from the corners, and this is what we've got. So we've done our 2 pieces, okay? I hope that little tip helps because we use it on lots of little scraps in this kit. Here are the 2.5 by 3.5s, and I just rounded the corners. All of these other fun sheets we left whole at 4x4, and then I took the center of the white rings and I cut it in half. I thought that was a cute addition there. As far as these rings showing how to make a round photo, I just want to give you a quick reminder. You take your 4x6 and then you would pick what size ring and actually lay it on top of the picture. Then you trim the outside edge of the photo off that lines up to the ring. I actually tilt, when I'm cutting, I tilt my scissors in a little bit so you can see it doesn't end up a perfectly smooth circle on the back, but that's so the edges of the pictures don't show. So it looks like a round photo sitting on a white circle, but instead it's the white ring on top of the picture. It's the easiest way I know to get round photos without using a circle cutter. Now, a big one like that, I would probably just have a 4x6 horizontal, or even a vertical one would work there, under that ring and let it highlight it. This one, I didn't put photo here, and I probably should have, could be an extra picture. This could also be if you put a scrap of paper in here. It's kind of hard to write on black. Or you could use a gel pen, a white or silver gel pen to journal here. Or you could put some other embellishing down here. But I probably would put picture. I just misplaced photo here. Okay, but isn't it great? The accordion tag lets you get 4 pictures in such a small space and makes it look so good. All right, next page. This one you're going to end up seeing very little of the white background, basically just these 2 outsides. You're going to build the inside with 4x6 photos. For interest, we added one of the 3x4s. And here you can mat another picture. If you have 2 more photos than I show, you have 2 extra mats here to do it. But we made everything touch like one big element on the page. And then you would have 3 round photos to soften up all of those lines a little bit. Now, if you had just 2 pictures instead of 3 for the circles, I would do these 2, and you could journal in this one. Or you could do some kind of embellishment here, a photo here, and journal in this one. So let the number of pictures determine how your pages actually lay out. This one, another similar concept, except you're gonna see white space in here a little bit. But when you get photos on here, all this white background is really gonna just make those pictures pop out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4x6s again. We mixed up vertical with horizontal. Here's an extra mat. This could have photo on it, or it could just be for decoration, depending how many photos you have. You could actually add another little picture here if you need, or you could journal in there. And up here could be a 4x6 that highlights, or you could crop it round. But make sure when you glue these 2 photos down, you're only doing adhesive on the edge so that these tags can pull out. And you can add photos front and back to these, or hide some journaling, or maybe some leftover memorabilia. If you took a takeout menu or something, you could actually put pieces of it on there, or you could write recipes on there. Would be a really, really cute thing to do in this kind of layout. This one, I just love the bright colors, and we all either have fun barbecues at home or have been before, especially during the time of COVID. If that's quarantine and staying at home and social distancing is still going on whenever you happen to take this class. We're doing a lot more cooking at home, and barbecues are definitely part of it. So I love the fun red with it as pops of color. Add a couple of 4x6s. I would probably crop a round photo here, but this would probably be a vertical one under there. Horizontal would work too. I would just line it up evenly with this one and let the ring highlight the top of it. We clustered some of the small elements, took a notch out of the title, and used the borders to balance the outside of the page. All right, here's the one earlier where I cut this, okay? So you can see where the arrow came out. These are the 3x4s we cut on the original diagrams of the 6x6s. It gives you room for lots of little photos. You can have actually 6 more mats if you have more photos. If you just have 1, if you have 2, if you have 3, 4, 5, or 6 more, you can add it. If you happen to have more 4x6s and don't want these small ones, you can move this up and do a full 4x6 here. Move this down, do a full 4x6 here. You can totally work with your photos to make it lay out the way it needs to. 4x6 here and here. The title goes in, and these are the 2 strips that were 2x6. Make sure adhesive only goes around those edges, so you can pull the tags out, where you can add more photos, journaling, or like we talked about earlier, recipes. I just think that would be a great idea with the tags in this kit. In this page, just a couple of little pops of red. All right, here's our last one, and foodie is such a term we all use now. Excuse me. Again, I made one big element with your photos. We let the base of it be this 6x6 mat, where you could highlight by having a round photo in here, and then this extra ring adds so much interest and draws your eye into that one. These would just be 4x6s. Add a 4x4 and maybe a 3x4. This could be 4x4 as well and go out to the edge. And then a couple smaller ones on your fun sheets, one of which we're cropping round. couple leftover elements. We've got our 2-inch word circles, one of the small titles. Left this title just as it was. There wasn't room to make a notch, but it doesn't need it. And then that's where the 2 half-inch borders came in. Y'all, that's our Let's Eat Simple 6-pack class. It was easy. These layouts will be so much fun when they have pictures on them. Please feel free to share, and we hope to see you back here soon for another class.